Joining us today, Charlotte City Councilman Braxton Winston, who is once again running at large. Braxton, thanks for coming on. Good to see you.
Oh, good to see you, Ben.
All right, so what is your number one priority if you get reelected?
Well, again, thank you for having me. If I am elected to my third term on City Council, I'll continue to work for a more equitable, accessible, and interconnected Charlotte. And I really think that as we try to build mixed income communities that provide the type of equity situation that we desire, the implementation of the comprehensive 2040 plan is going to be integral in this. We passed that last year, and we are implementing this in steps. We will get through the UDO process this summer, but then that will lead into the small area planning process. And that is where the rubber is going to really hit the road, to take a term from one of my colleagues, on how we change the growth strategies that have created the most inequitable city over the past 50 years and really flip the paradigms to get towards that equity lens that is so important.
And what do you think? We talked about the Charlotte 2040 plan at length on this show over the last year or so. And what do you think is the biggest part of that for the next council to address specifically when it comes to implementation?
Well, it really is going to be that small area planning process, and for the council to wrap our minds around how we utilize the tools that are provided in the UDO to carry out the goals that are laid out in the comprehensive plan. So along with that, we're going to have to get our constituents smart about how to organize in their neighborhoods and how to really map out their areas so that housing is able to increase in the amounts, but also the housing types, so that businesses are able to thrive alongside of them, and so that transportation is planned for and is invested in to get people from their homes to their businesses to school and beyond.
You mentioned transit and transportation. We know that will also be a big priority for the next council, as it looks like this referendum is not going to go on the ballot for this year, November, for the sales tax that would help pay for it. So you are on the intergovernmental committee. You're the co-chair of it, I believe. And a lot of the criticism around this whole effort has been a lack of coordination between the city and some of the regional stakeholders, and the city and the state lawmakers up in Raleigh. What do we do to change that?
Well, again, part of that's going to come from City Council. I was very disappointed that City Council decided to take a kind of laissez-faire approach. Myself and Mr. Bakari and some other folks on the Intergovernmental Committee were really trying to create a policy where we did go out and talk to other elected leaders and other community leaders to form coalitions, to go on a listening tour, to be a partner to other people in our region. And for one reason or the other, my colleagues didn't, well, not enough of my colleagues agreed to do that. I think that was a fatal mistake. And that's the feedback that I've been getting from other partners, both in government and beyond. So I think we need to change that moving forward. It's not too late to do that now in this term, but if it takes till next term, that's important. And I think we really need to re-engage with our private community. If we shouldn't reinvent the wheel here. If you look back at the history of Charlotte, look at Duke Energy. Duke Energy really got started in this community 100 years by building what? Electric trolleys and making that work. There is an interest, there's a mutual benefit for business to get behind this, especially when you look at how ESGs are getting rated, equity, social and environment ranks. I don't think City Council has engaged the Fortune 100 companies that we have to figure out how we can not only use public dollars, but use those public dollars to be leveraged amongst private dollars, the way we do everything else to really get to move these ideas forward. And I think that's the types of innovation our constituents have been wanting us to do. But again, we have really taken that hands-off approach, and I think that's been fatal in this process.
So how do you change that, though? I mean, you say hands-off, laissez-faire approach for this council. Going forward for the next council, assuming nothing happens in the next couple of months, what do you do to change that?
Well, I'm going to continue to push intergovernmental approaches. This is something that I do while I'm governing right now. But of course, this is something that I'm running on. So we will have a very different city council, no matter what, after September, once it's installed. And my hope is that I will keep banging this drum, and enough of my constituents will agree with that, and we'll get folks installed that want to do this work. Like I said, there are some on City Council that do want to take that approach, are comfortable with taking that approach, and I believe that we are heading in a direction where we'll have the leadership to take approach similar to that, and to move away from this reliance on consultants to tell us what to do.
Last two questions. It's a two-parter. In your mind, the best thing about Charlotte, and then the thing that drives you crazy about Charlotte?
Well, again, I think the people, of course, the people are the best thing. We have such a diverse community. We are a community where 1 in 5 people are foreign-born. People don't really realize that. We're a city of 300 square miles. There are ties that bind us that make those 300 square miles distinctly Charlotte, but every part has its own flavor. And I love being an at-large member and being able to go all around and see those different parts and interact. And from Margaret Wallace Road to Sunset to Mallard Creek to Arrowwood. What frustrates me the most is that, again, we know how to do some of these big things. We have the resources to take big steps, but too often we do what is the safest. We kind of minimize the risk, like we do, I guess taking that finance sector point of view. We have the resources to do big things, and we need big things to solve the issues that we have. So I hope that we will continue to find ways to be brave. And shoot for the moon, as opposed to just looking right in front of our nose for the solutions.
All right, Braxton Winston, at-large member of City Council, hoping for a third term. Braxton, thanks as always. We appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much, Ben.
All right, more Flashpoint after this.